So this is mobile search and Yellow Pages, the business model. And yesterday, some of you may have been here for our mobile app demo session, in which we kind of took a look at some of the innovation happening at the product level for a lot of mobile applications that are mobile local apps. So this is kind of phase 2 of that discussion, in which we are tackling the, arguably more important discussion of monetization. There are a lot of question marks surrounding mobile monetization. There's a lot of excitement around there about mobile products, but then also a fair amount of skepticism. Is there a there for a lot of these products that people are talking about? And it's also kind of ironic. So we're seeing a lot of usage in the past few years. Smartphone technologies have greatly improved. Prices are coming down. Carriers are subsidizing smartphone prices and dropping unlimited data plans. So from all this, we're seeing this kind of quick growth in the mobile web, which really bodes well for mobile local search, because a lot of search behavior happening on mobile devices is local in nature. I won't go into kind of a lot of those data points, but you can trust me in saying that it's very much conducive to local, as we see a lot of this growth in search traffic on the mobile device. But it's kind of ironic. So all of these things are coming together. We have these infrastructures in place and a lot of usage, and then the economy tanks. So for a lot of advertisers, especially small business advertisers, mobile marketing has very much been kind of backburnered. But it's really our contention that over the next kind of 18 to 24 months, as we emerge from recession, and in parallel as user behavior continues to evolve, as devices continue to improve and come down in price like they have been, there's a major market opportunity on the horizon. And Yellow Pages companies are, of course, uniquely positioned to jump on a lot of that opportunity, given the money spent at the local level and given the interest that's going to be raised there. And that has a lot to do with the strengths of their brands, the cross-promotional abilities with existing assets in both print and online, and the ability to kind of seed a lot of mobile behavior, and then also, of course, the sales channel and the ability to actually have touch points with small businesses at the local level. And that's a theme that really kind of ties right into a pervasive theme throughout this conference, which is the evolution of the sales channel. How will mobile be a piece of that and be kind of bundled in as part of this overall evolution? So what we have here is 4 publishers, both US-based and European, that are each really attacking this from different angles and have different kind of philosophies about mobile product development, and then also different kind of paths to monetization. So we're going to hear from each of those one by one, and then also kind of have an open discussion around a lot of these key issues, open it up to questions, and then I also want to leave a quick segment at the end to talk about our mobile local media program at BIA Kelsey, and how we can work with you if you're kind of getting into mobile and have questions about how it's done and that kind of thing. So we're going to start off with Deborah Eldred, who's Director of Mobile and Personalization for RH Donnelley. And RHD is actually an interesting case. It's one of among publishers, one of the later companies to kind of build an extensive range of products, mobile products, but arguably now the most extensive. And we're going to hear from Deborah about how the company got there, the philosophies behind that, and what's up next. So please welcome Deborah.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, David. Interesting. I agree about Android, and I want to get into that as well, and kind of the platform choices that face many of the people in this audience. So we're also going to take audience questions. You can raise your hand. I'll get the conversation started. We have one over here, if the mic can make its way over. In the meantime, I'll ask you guys, a lot of great data in there. David, talking about or underscoring the opportunity for mobile based on different categories, reaching incremental users, or reaching your same users at incremental times throughout their day. Deborah, some of your data pointed to that as well. So, a lot of good usage data, and you guys also went into some of the ways that you plan on monetizing, particularly, Deborah, you mentioned that this kind of ties right into a leads-based model that goes across platforms. The rest of you, how are you kind of picturing this will kind of make its way into the sales organization? How will it be sold? How will it be, what will be the ad formats? What is the kind of the actual monetization you guys are envisioning? What will these ad units look like? And I guess why don't we start here with you, Peter, and move down?
I wish I had a concrete set answer for you. Oh, yeah, it's right here. The fact is, we're really experimenting with different ad formats right now, and trying to understand how the mobile user is going to engage with them differently. I think the key thing to look at is the fact that you can make a phone call from the same device that you found the information from. And so a pay per call format like AT&T is doing, I think is a winning model moving forward. And then it's ads that have a local angle. There's not much help in sending someone to HP.com from a local search app. So the ad formats have to have some sort of a local angle to them. Obviously, with standard YP and small businesses, that's inherent. But again, to bring in other revenue, you have to say, how does some national internet brand have a local presence and a local value to the user?
Well, I mean, to that point, I mean, one of Google's models and why it's been so successful is the kind of machine learning and the algorithm that places the most relevant result at the top of the page that's going to garner the most click-through rate. You can apply that logic to mobile in that, and this goes back to a question I asked Aaron Silverstein yesterday in the mobile apps panel, which is, does the algorithm change on the mobile device? In other words, does the kind of the factors that govern relevance change, given that you are on a mobile device, it knows where you are, you're out and about. Are the search algorithms going to change? Does the definition of relevance change? And is that kind of a means towards getting more interaction, more click-throughs, and hence more revenue in these kind of formats you're talking about?
Absolutely. If you're on mobile and I'm in Tucson searching for a Mexican restaurant and I get a Chili's that's 20 miles away.
And not just location, but I mean, if you search for McDonald's online, you might get the McDonald's Wikipedia page. On your mobile device, you should get the closest McDonald's, that kind of thing. Qualitative differences in the search terms.
Definitely.
Go ahead.
So those are definitely key areas that we're looking into and implementing in our products. In terms of the relevance piece, certainly. Somebody searching for a restaurant or a name search, which is like a Home Depot or a McDonald's in my current location. What we want to do is provide relevance based on distance, because the intent there is to find something very specific in a very specific location. But if it's restaurants in, say, Texas or Dallas, Texas, for example, then we will display results based on sort of the social context and ratings and reviews, as opposed to distance sort. And in terms of ad products, we're experimenting with many different types, which three we've talked about. The sort of business hotspots kind of browsing and clicking capabilities. There's the pay-per-call products. There are the video products and such. But at the end of the day, I think what advertisers and businesses want to do is just have a mobile presence. And that's one of the things we want to do, is to help them get that mobile presence, either through our products or products of their own.
Anything to add, David?
Yeah, I think for me one of the most important aspects of this is context and what that context means in terms of not even willingness, but likelihood to actually transact at that time. If I'm looking at through a web interface for a taxi company, I could be looking to phone a couple of taxi companies up to arrange a pickup at an airport next Thursday. Okay, if I'm 1:30 in the morning, maybe one drink too many, need to get home because I said I'd be home at 12, I need a taxi now. I'm more likely to transact immediately. Right. And the same with the restaurants. I think the restaurant piece may be, I'm sort of in a sit-back research type environment or type context, or am I in I'm hungry, I need to find a takeaway of a particular type that I like now in my area. So there's a different value to that, because I'm likely to transact much more quickly. And I think being able to offer that as a more valuable model to advertise, that so I'm not just going to bring you a buyer, I'm actually going to bring you a buyer in the next hour, 15 minutes, somebody with money that wants your service now. That to me has got to have some extra value that we can extract from an advertiser.
Very interesting. We have a number of audience questions. Deborah, do you want to jump in on any of these issues before I go to some of these audience questions?
Sure. I was just going to mention that, what we've seen is when you're talking about relevance and the algorithm, the devices now are becoming more available with GPS. And what we've seen is over 50% of the searches with a GPS-enabled device are actually using their GPS location instead of putting in a zip code or an actual address. So, when you do that, some of the algorithm, that you tried to mastermind gets thrown out the window. And remember what I had talked about, you have such a small screen and you want to get the users what they want and you want them to come back. So that's where it kind of goes into the pay-per-call, give them what they want and then monetize within that advertiser.
Interesting, thank you. So we have a question right here.
Actually, what you've been talking about ties in very